Well, good morning, 360. Today I'm going to talk about probably what is the most quoted Bible verse in the Bible. The one that says, "Do not judge." When I was in my former job working with addicts, I became a connoisseur of fine courthouses in northern Colorado. I think I visited them all with various clients. I remember one particularly dismal day when we went to one courthouse. It was the day before Christmas, and this guy had a court date, so I took him to his court date. We were there early. It was an early morning time slot. We're sitting there waiting for our turn in the audience, and the district attorney comes over, goes to sit down in his chair, and he missed. He misses his chair and falls on his rump onto the ground. The whole courthouse is silent. But my client, he goes, "Ha ha! What an idiot!" The judge looks over, the district attorney looks over, and we are promptly rescheduled to the very last slot of the day. I got to spend the entirety of the day before Christmas sitting in the courthouse. Thank you, client. That was a tough one. Some courthouses were done up really beautifully. I thought it was kind of ironic. The courthouse of Golden was, that in the jail was shaped like handcuffs if you looked at it from the sky. I thought that might be a little harsh and mean and maybe an unnecessary expense, but a little humorous nonetheless. Someone could say, "Yeah, I'm housed in the left cuff." But so my experience in the judicial system, I got to see a lot of it. But then you have this verse where Jesus says, "Do not judge." And like I said, this is probably the most quoted Bible verse. Every time someone is doing something wrong, I'll throw this verse out, like with my clients. "So you're telling me you would steal from your grandmother to buy drugs? Don't judge." "So you're telling me you like to, for entertainment at night, to climb up on the top of a car and jump on it until the windshield broke and then go on to the next one? Don't judge." Or you would firebomb your girlfriend's car whenever you broke up? Don't judge. No, I think I should be judging those situations. But it's still the most quoted. I mean, I can think of other ones that are quoted, John 3:16, but that's mostly quoted among Christians and maybe the occasional sign at a sports game. Or the verse, "Eat, drink, and be merry." That's in the Bible. That's Ecclesiastes 8:15. But I still think judging is probably the most quoted. And at face value, it seems impossible. Are you telling me we're supposed to make no evaluations of the things around us? Is it safe to cross the road right now? Can that person be trusted? Don't eat that. My son and one of his friends were running around in an open area near one of the campus housing places at UC Berkeley, and his little friend from behind a bush says, "I found a balloon." And I'm thinking, I hope that's a balloon. And next thing you know, she's moving into her mouth to chew on it. And did I say, "I can't judge"? Jesus says, no, I judged very quickly and said, "No, don't eat that, put that down. That's disgusting." Sometimes you need to judge. So what did Jesus mean? Does it mean we can't tell right from wrong, that anything goes? Or, as in my past experiences, we have to do away with the entire legal system, since that's all the whole premise is judging? We need to look at what kind of judging are we not supposed to do? And what kind of judging are we? What did Jesus mean when he said, "Do not judge"? Everyone has their own ways of making judgments. I remember back in college, this one woman invited me to her house for Thanksgiving to meet her family. And little did I know that this was all a test. She had this test when ever there was a guy, she'd bring him home to meet her family, And if they liked Uncle Louis, his name was changed. They were not dating material. I was actually neutral on Louis, so I don't know how I shook out. But her way of judging and testing was if they liked Uncle Louis, forget about him. Our judgments of taste, are they okay? I prefer to eat that over that. If I would want a beef Twinkie, no, I can have a judgment of taste. That's not a good idea. I remember there's an ice cream place out where I used to live in Fort Collins, Colorado, called Walrus Ice Cream. Check it out if you're there, free advertising. They always made one joke flavor, and people would dare each other to eat it. I remember flavors like Spam Spumoni and soy sauce sherbet or strawberry tuna chunk. These were awful. Soy sauce sherbet was the worst. It's horrible. But judgments of taste, that's not very good. Philippians 4:8 says, "Finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things." So here in Philippians it says, judgments of taste, yes, make them. You should be able to tell, and for yourself, what is lovely, what is admirable, what is excellent, and do and pursue that. So, do not judge doesn't refer to that, because the Bible says this is the kind of judging you should be doing. What about judgments about helpful or harmful people? Should I hang out with this person? Should I date that person? Matthew 7:15, or should I listen to that person's teaching? Matthew 7:15, it's later on in the same chapter, right after Jesus says, do not judge. He says, watch out for false prophets. They come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ferocious wolves. So he says do not judge, but then immediately follows up by saying, judge false prophets. So yeah, we are to judge helpful or harmful people. And especially when he says false prophets, that applies heavily toward judging false teachers. People who will teach you bad things. What about judgments on people's behavior? Now that's the big one. 1 Corinthians 5:3, and they have already passed judgment on this is Paul talking, and Paul is talking for himself, Paul, follower of Jesus, and they have already passed judgment on the one who did this, just as if he were here. So Paul's judging. And then, again in Matthew, right after Jesus says, do not judge, he says, by their fruit you will recognize them. The fruit meaning someone's behavior. The fruits of the Spirit were love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, self-control. Fruit was usually used as a term for someone's character qualities and what they were doing. By your fruit you will recognize them. And so Jesus says, look at someone's behavior, and you can recognize, in this case it was the false prophets. Look at their behavior, and you can see, are they worthy to listen to? Or should you dismiss them? You are making a judgment based on their behavior. So it seems as if the Bible has already given an okay to judge pretty much about everything. In direct contradiction to what Jesus says, do not judge. So what type of judging are we not supposed to do? John 4:27, that verse basically comes out and says, don't judge by appearances. So if you're going to judge, don't judge by the way things look at face value. Don't assume that you know all the evidence. Proverbs 18:13 says, don't judge before knowing all the evidence. Seems so quickly that when someone does something that we think is bad, we immediately attribute it to some deep-seated character trait. Someone cuts me off in traffic, they are just bad. They're bad people. Instead of maybe they're in a hurry. Or when I cut someone off in traffic, no, it's okay because I'm in a hurry. We describe our own behavior situationally, and as someone else we describe as it's a bad character trait. We don't know what's going on in someone's life. It was very interesting with the former clients. They would tell me a lot of these terrible things they've done. But then you hear their story and realize where they've came from. And it makes sense. hope they change. You can still tell them, yeah, that's not good behavior. Let's work on a treatment plan to do better. But, for the grace of God, I could have been there. Who knows how I would have turned out had I had some of those bad experiences. Don't judge before knowing all the evidence. In Proverbs 18:19, if you're trying to win someone over, don't offend them. And so this kind of puts a qualification on how are you to judge. Judge compassionately, judge lovingly, judge with understanding, judge with care and concern, because once they're offended, the chances of them changing or listening to you any further is really slim. And so if you're going to judge, judge lovingly. Judge with the benefit of the doubt. Judge with compassion on where they may have come from. And then to narrow in specifically on the very type of judging Jesus was referring to. The verse goes on in that judgment to say, do not judge or you will be judged. That's the part that's often quoted. And then in context, goes on to say, for with the same judgment you pronounce, you will be judged. And with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. And the verse goes on to say, why do you look at the speck in someone else's eye when you have a large board in your own? First take care of the board that's in your own eye, and then worry about the speck in someone else's. Does it say never worry about the speck in someone else's? No. But it does say you need to take care of your own stuff. The same judgment you give out says, okay, if you're going to judge, just know that the same way you judge will be the way that you are judged as well. Do you have a clear conscience? Okay, then maybe you can speak to someone's issue. If you don't, zip it. It says you must take care of the board in your own eye before you can look at the speck in someone else's. And Jesus says the type of judgment that you just do not do is hypocritical stuff. If you're going to judge, that same magnifying glass and microscope is going to be looking at you. And if you have the same issue, you shouldn't be talking. For example, I can't tell anyone to stop eating sugar. I love my sugar. But in my former job, I could counsel addicts on being free from addiction and pointing out different types of behaviors that fuel an addiction cycle versus those that don't. I had a good conscience there. That wasn't an issue of mine. If it was, I needed to pick a different profession. And so, to explain and elaborate on the do not judge, big one, do not judge if it's an issue you deal with. You're a hypocrite, no one will listen to you, the same judgment will be applied to you, and probably even harsher. Don't judge by appearances. Don't judge before knowing all the evidence. And if you judge, do it in a loving manner, in a way that encourages the person to change, rather than offends them to where you'll be dismissed. But yes, judgments can happen and should happen. You wouldn't be able to survive the day crossing the street if you didn't make a judgment. But hopefully this at least explains a little more what Jesus was getting at, instead of just a blanket do not judge on anything. Dear Lord, thank you for the day. When it comes to judging, I pray that you'll help me and all of us be slow to speak and to be long on self-introspection. Take care of our own business before we even think of involving ourselves in someone else's. And when we do, to do it in a way that comes from a heart of love, true concern, so that all of us who are in this together can be better people. I pray this in Christ's name.